Raina, thank you so much. That song was on the Happy Station, and it happened to be circles because we've been going in circles to get this live going because tech sucks, man, but you've been incredible, popping back and forth. Here we are recording our live so we can post it up. But I want for you to introduce yourself. Tell us who you are. What is your business? You wear a lot of hats. Tell us all the things.
Jamie, thank you so much for having me. For everyone who's wondering how to pronounce my last name, it's Javeri. So it's Rayna Javeri. Simpler than it actually looks. You say it like like you see it. So how I describe myself has been an eternal conundrum from when I was very young. I wear many hats. I think of myself as an artistic, creative entrepreneur. I'm a television chef on a multi-Emmy-winning cooking show that's all over the world and all over the United States. That's how people know me best, but that's not the only thing I do. I'm a stage and screen artist. So I'm a musician. I've done some stand-up comedy. So I've been trying to find the underlying theme before I started my business. I was like, what connects all of these things? And it's connection and presence. And I know you said when you reached out to me, and also when you were previewing this live, that one of the things that drew you to me is my energy and presence. And that is something that is basically the cornerstone of my business as well. I teach people how to be present, whether it's on screen or on stage, in print or in person. I teach people how to be present. Now, you may have heard, especially business owners, right, how you've got your messaging dialed in and you've got your marketing dialed in, but still somehow some people get the big business and some people don't. And you may have heard how more than 90% of what you put out there isn't about content, right? It isn't what you say as much as how you say it.
Makes so much sense.
So I really help people basically be themselves. It's an exercise in deep excavation of all the old shame, guilt, blame, burdens that and kind of toxic messaging that we have taken on consciously, but more often than not unconsciously. The fears we've taken on unconsciously and subconsciously, the limiting beliefs we've taken on subconsciously, and all of those narratives that we might find ourselves cycling through, pattern after pattern after pattern. So getting into the subconscious and then healing all those old wounds, sometimes they're intergenerational wounds even, of unworthiness. The number one reason I find people unable to show up fully and authentically and feel it is because of a deep-seated sense of unworthiness, that I don't deserve this. And they're not able to open themselves to receive the abundance that they dream about and were born to receive. But until we clear up all that gunk, we're not able to be present to receive. So I work with creative coaches, artistic entrepreneurs, and spiritual consultants, right? To heal these very, very deep wounds and help them know their worth, show up big, and consistently draw premium clients without feeling fake and without burning out or without doing more.
Wow, so that's like visibility meets mindset, right? In this like creative spiritual arena.
Definitely. I was trying to marry, for a lot of my life, I thought, well, you got to just like fit in this box here, or you got to fit in this box here. You have to pick either or. And I did a lot of, I'm the best advocate of like, let me step back for a second. Growing up, I received a lot of the message was, do as I say and not as I do. And that never made sense to me, right? The adults around me, the kind of mindset landscape around me was, this is this is good, we recommend this, but nobody is actually able to do it, right? Nobody's able to take their own medicine. And so I've made it my own business to take my own medicine first and foremost.
Some of these old school, there's so many things in our head that our grandparents have said to us or our parents, and we carry that with us even though it doesn't serve us, and or it's just not, it's not so helpful. I have a daughter who's 3, and so I try so hard to be mindful and careful on the things that I say to her, knowing that so many women, including myself, have dealt with so many self-image struggles. And they say it starts from a very young age, just even making comments about, oh, well, I don't look so great in my jeans, or just poor talk about ourselves. And she's listening to everything. She's paying attention, and she's mimicking, and she's repeating, and right now she's a sponge to all that. So man, being a parent isn't as easy as I thought it was gonna be, man. You gotta be careful on
Who told you it was easy?
so
Yeah.
so so how do you wear, like, what, how does this, what, tell me about this cooking show. Like, are you a chef too? Like,
So here's the thing, getting on this cooking show for me was one of those myth busting things that actually really opened my mind to the power of presence. I have never taken a cooking class in my life. I have a degree in neurobiology, not in media, not in performance. Yet my career, I had a 15-year career in like senior management in communications and marketing. I've been published by like Forbes and CNN and Vogue and who else, like Rolling Stone, right? Never taken a writing course in my life, and never taken a media or broadcasting course in my life. Like I don't have the stamps that I was told are required. But getting on this show was one of many things I've done, self-driven, self-motivated, self-taught, and a lot of it starts and ends with mindset. One of the, and I would love to share this with your audience, one of the things I learned is that if you don't see the role models around you that you intuitively feel that you need, right? Some little small voice inside you, which I help people get really, really clear on listening to that still small voice of intuition that tells us, wait, it doesn't have to be this way. I don't need all the things I'm told I need to get to where I want to be. There's other work I need to do. You don't get there for free, for sure. I've paid, and heavily so, but not in the way we think, right? It doesn't need to take as long. It doesn't need to cost as much. And it definitely doesn't need to have all the bells and whistles and the extra freebies and the bonuses and all the overwhelm, right? The degrees and the certificates on the wall. For some people, they're great. I'm not dissing it. I'm just saying I didn't do any of that. And I got to do what I'm doing because I took a different route. And so I'm a master of efficiency too. I want to find the quickest, most powerful way to get to where I want to go. And a lot of it is energetic. For me, it's energetic, it's heart driven, and it's mindset. So one of the things
notes here.
one of the things I've always done is, and this is a little nugget of advice I can offer, a suggestion, is to believe that there is one person in the world who has had your struggle and who's on the other side of it, Not all your struggles, not exactly in the same way, but pick the one struggle you're focused on right now and don't rest till you find one person out of what is our population now? 8 billion something people in the world, right? And most of us are connected. Many of us have the privilege of being connected through the internet at this point, thanks to the pandemic.
Right.
Right? Silver lining. I mean, here we are. We wouldn't be in touch otherwise.
No.
Right?
You're so right.
This is how, so it's about the shift in perspective. Shifting the perspective has been my number one tool of getting anywhere and doing anything in my life. And so finding the one person each time you have a struggle, knowing that you're not the only one, especially with things, there's certain kinds of struggle that make you feel like you're alone, right? I work a lot with the inner critic. The inner critic, who I in my work with my clients, we do very deep dives on the inner critic and learn how to befriend the inner critic. We invite our demons to tea. This is a cornerstone of the work I do, right? We learn how to speak to these demons, the monsters, right? The boogeymen under the bed that are trying to get our attention, but most people try to like shut them down and like, right, cut off their head. And instead we invite them in to say, what are you trying to tell me? So a lot of the times we'll hear the inner critic as someone who's trying to say you're the only one in this struggle. You are all alone, very isolationist kind of messaging. And so my piece of advice is to remember in those moments, there is at least one person in the world other than you who has been where you are, who has stood where you're standing now, and they may be able to offer you some guidance, support, or advice. Reach out to them and don't rest till you find this person.
Yeah,
And when you
seeking
find the one, you will
advice.
find another and another and another and another. But just start with the one.
Okay, that's incredible. Yeah, because the truth is seeing how someone else has weathered that storm. Like how did they get on the other side of that? What was that process? Because it's not just a switch. I mean, it's a whole it's changing something. Tell me a little bit more about what does an ideal client look like to you? What are they dealing with? What is the main problem that they're bumping into right now that really should encourage them to connect with you?
So, my ideal clients are highly intelligent, very creative people who tend to give of themselves a lot. They've got the goods, right? But they're lacking the self-worth. There's something in them that feels like they don't deserve it, that they are unworthy, non-deserving, that they're somehow not good enough to receive wealth or health or abundance, whatever you want to call it, right? Money, which is a form of energy, right? So I help people who are extremely good at what they do, but they're afraid of putting themselves out there and showing up big, showing up fully because of the deep-seated unworthiness is what characterizes them. And they may have tried things, small things, right? And I don't deal with people who are kind of like, oh, we're looking and that would be a nice to have. Like they're people in a lot of emotional and spiritual pain
Okay.
where they can see people who have maybe a fraction of the smarts, of the intelligence, of the creativity, of the potential that they have, succeeding and succeeding and succeeding way beyond, right? And they're stuck in their heads, they're stuck in their homes, they're stuck watching their hope and dreams kind of dwindle because here's here's one unifying factor with the people that I work with. They're the most freaking intelligent people, and they're so freaking stubborn that they think they have to solve this by themselves. It's an ego game, right? Their egos get in their way. And sometimes often the ego presents itself in an upside down fashion. It presents itself as unworthiness. It presents itself as not good enoughness. It presents itself as non deservingness.
This is a
And
conversation
these are
I'm hearing.
old patterns. Yeah.
I'm hearing this struggle from so many people, especially people that, you feel like they have everything together. And to find out that they are dealing with those feelings of unworthiness and not enough. And, it's just something, I think that we're open to talking about that now, versus I think for so many years it's been something we just don't discuss. It's been something that you keep under the rug and you don't let it surface, you know? It just seems like it's a human thing. I feel like everybody has it. I feel like there are a few people who don't actually. At least the way that they carry themselves, they, you know, like.
We don't know. You don't know? We don't know. See, here's the thing, and I specifically that's why I specifically deal with like people who are the creative, artistic, and spiritual kinds. They will often tend to be either professional performers, musicians, comedians, or even if they do that on the side as like a serious hobby, that's definitely like a characteristic. Artists, painters, writers. There's something specific about the creative types that I understand deeply. This is what I can speak to because I am that also. Ask me how I know, right? And when we're in performance mode, when we're in, right, you see us as like the gods on television, on stage, on like, right? And there's so many movies made about so many creative geniuses dying in abject poverty. And I've made it my mission. I started off doing screen presence and camera coaching. And I'm in the middle, like I said, of this big, not upheaval, but I'm like basically transforming, going the next level. It's the next level of that was the outer shell, and I've been peeling, and I call it peeling the onion, right? Peeling the infinite onion is something I talk about a lot because I'm taking my own medicine. I'm like, no, what's underneath that? What is underneath that? We see so many stories of people who are like, you see them and you think they've got it all, and then they're being carried out of like, you know, an anonymous hotel room in a body bag.
Mm. Oh
Because we don't know that struggle and the front that they have to put up to show success is one of the heaviest burdens. So I am taking my screen presence and basically my background of like being on, I'm a TV person, right? But I want to take away the curtains and the layers and stuff and talk about the real stuff.
because you've been
I
there, you
really struggle.
understand the
I'm
pressure.
there all the time. I
Yeah.
understand the pressure. And to say that you're not alone and say, I get it. So I don't work with everyone. And I work with people who are willing to go all in, who do the freaking work, right? Who are willing to be courageous, honest. I'm a no bullshit kind of person, right? I don't need it to be fancy. I go do my own errands and shit like that. I don't, I'm not that person posting pictures of me, like fake pictures of me on a beach with my laptop. And I mean, that would be great. I'd love to be at the beach, right? But that's not the life I aspire to. I aspire to an abundant life of like wealth in all its forms. And so underneath this, I'm developing a practice of like healing money shame, to call it by its name, right? Money, again, money being a form of energy, of wealth, of abundance, right? It's the most tangible and the most misunderstood. And I realized as I was doing my presence work of like showing up big, the shame underneath that was showing up was money shame,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
The unworthiness, literally, like, what is it? What am I worth? Money and worth are very tied. So that's starting to become a bigger and bigger. It was like one part of my work, and it's starting to become a bigger and bigger part. Nobody wants to talk about it. I read somewhere that people are more willing to discuss their like favorite sexual position than they are to talk about their bank balance.
Oh
It's
my goodness. Which are two like tough things to talk about.
Mhm. But that's how much shame there is in there, and I'm realizing how deeply it's tied to our sense of self-worth. And the creative performers, spiritual artist types are the ones who will give and give and give and put out their work, right? But never ask. They will not ask for help. They will not ask for money. They will not ask for support, right? There's something very specific in that psychology that I am starting to heal of myself. I tell stories now, and I'm building them in to the new program that I'm developing about my own struggle with this. I can't very well, right? teach what I don't know. I have to teach what I'm living through it right now.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. I have a
Because
connection
as I
for you.
heal,
I have somebody that I'm introducing you to because the two of you share the same ideal clients, but you serve in a different way. So I will make that connection. I totally envision like a co-sponsored summit serving that very specific community. So I will sit on the sidelines and see what you ladies come up with.
that would be amazing. No, I'm very open. I'm very open. And essentially, what I do, right, and what I aspire to do, I'm not going to lie here. Like, I'm just getting started with this aspect of things, right? I just came out of an amazing, super intense business coaching program again, and I'm dealing with premium. So we go straight to premium. We don't do like the $7 little freebie and then the tripwire and then the upsell and all of that. I want people who are like in so much burning pain that they don't want all the noise. They just want the content, the coaching, and the results.
Yeah,
That's it,
the quickest
right?
route to
Get
that
straight to premium.
solution.
We're going to go straight to the top, right? You don't start and work your way. I don't have time for that. I'm 43 at this point. And like I said, I'm a master of efficiency. I want the one thing, I want the one person that's going to do for me what I want. And I'm willing to pay a premium for that. I've done it. Again, I can't ask it of people if I haven't done it myself. I have done it and I see how valuable it is. It saves me time, like shorter time period, more money, but then I'm getting the results that I want. Let me tell you a story. 10 years ago, is it 10 years ago at this point? Jesus. 10 years ago, I was in such a dark place. I was I was doing like content writing, basically like selling, writing copy, rehashing copy for like electronics products for like $4 an hour. Sitting on an ironing board for a table in a hotel room of a hotel that was like kind of half functional in a place far away. Like it was just a very difficult situation, a very dark situation. And not to diss anyone who's making $4 an hour. I'm just saying I've been there. And earlier this year, I closed one client at 5 figures.
Wow. That's incredible. To take the situation that didn't feel good to your heart. You weren't doing something that you love. To take yourself to a place where you can support and serve those that are following their heart, doing something that brings them joy, but healing those deeper struggles,
Yeah.
taking them through that journey. Congratulations.
And
Wasn't easy.
that client, no, but it was these quantum leaps, and I'm really interested in taking people through these quantum leaps. Do you know how like this is my this is my science nerd, my biology background coming in. Do you know how ice becomes water and then water becomes steam? It's not the slope of the change is not a gradual slope. There are these latency phases where it's just gathering lots of energy, and then there's a phase shift. And I'm really interested because I've experienced my life like this. It's phase shift. It's like incredible. You go from one, right, one state into a completely different state, not through a gradual process, but not by doing nothing either. You're not sitting there like browsing Netflix. Um, you're doing the inner work, it builds and it builds and it builds, and then suddenly, right, you're from this level of like dibbling and dabbling in the small time to suddenly like we're in the big time now, baby. And then you got to sit with that and believe it too.
It comes as a shock. You're like, how, like, were we not paying attention? Were we just going with the flow? We're doing all the right things. We're focused. And it's like, all of a sudden, it's like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize what was going on this whole time. Like putting in the work and trusting the process and showing up for yourself and believing. Girl, I've been there.
I know you can relate, which is why I'm telling you.
Sometimes when you feel like you're not getting anywhere, but you got to keep showing up for yourself and you got to keep putting in the work. And and doing the right steps and not beating yourself up on the inside. Because that's the hardest part right there is feeling like what you're doing is wasteful, you know? But
So we
that's
go
just
from
because you
feeling it wasteful to, again, worth it. Where is the worth? So this is again the underlying piece, that your efforts are worth it, and reflecting that back, having that reflected back by somebody who gets it, to me has been the most valuable thing in my life for myself, which is what I offer to people. I remember having this intense dream a few months ago, and the dream was like everything was dark in the background, and there were these beings, kind of these shadowy beings, in like a line. There was like a larger one and a smaller one and a small, and there was this infinite line of beings, shadowy beings, and there was one source of light that the first one held, like the elder held this light and passed it on to the next shadowy being, and there was this like infinite passing on of the light that was happening. It was so, I mean, it's making my skin tingle now to think about it. It was so clear and so powerful. I remember waking up from this dream thinking, that's the work. The work is receiving and passing, receiving and passing, and trusting there is enough and then some for everybody. This mentality of insufficiency, of smallness, of like there's only so much, of finiteness, is a false mentality. It's a false mentality.
yeah. Well, it's that, I don't know where we learn it, but it's the not enough thing.
That's what I mean. Everything I came back to was like, it's
Damn,
not,
not
I
enough.
am not enough, there is not enough, right? When we feel like there is not enough on the outside, if you believe, as I do, that the world is a, you can also, I live in the physical world. Like, I have my feet on the ground. I know, like, if I run into that glass window, it's going to bonk me hard in the head. But I also live in the spiritual world where I believe that I, my, I'm like, everything around me is a projection of my consciousness. This is where like my Indian mystic comes in. Although I didn't learn this growing up, this is all through embodied experience. I've had some very powerful experiences that I share with the people that I work with. I'm also rejigging my Facebook group, so I will put that link somewhere wherever we can.
In comments.
And I'm going to be teaching every week in that group, giving as much value as I can to anyone that shows up, so that only the people who are super ready to work with me show up, because I don't want to waste anyone's time, and I don't want people to waste my time. I'm like, let's get this done. Right?
I call them tire kickers.
The looky-loos and the loosey-gooses and the tire kickers. Yeah, no.
If you want the free resources, go here. If you're really interested in finding a quick solution, then connect with me here. So I have a couple quick questions for you. I want to take it to like a personal note, which it's funny to say that because this is a personal note. What is good in your world right now? What is good?
There's a lot of good in my world right now. I told this to someone the other day, I try to make every day of mine feel like a vacation and work at the same time. I've always done this. I used to do this back many years ago when I lived somewhere else. And I remember thinking every single day, I can't tell what day it is, but every day feels like there's a little bit of everything that I need within the day. And that really helps me structure my life. Because I'm someone who used to think that discipline and routine were like shackles, and now I found a great deal of freedom and creativity in discipline and routine. So actually, I'm that nerd. I never thought I'd be saying this, but it brings me great joy to be very organized. I get this all the time, like especially from my artist and musician friends. They're like, "You're super organized." I'm like, "I know. Who would have thought?" So I help others see that discipline and freedom can offer tremendous amounts of creativity and freedom, right? And again, that you can achieve the dreams that you want, you can make the money that you want without burning out and working all the time, right? I get to create my own life. I get to kind of write my own narrative and then live it. And it's day by day. It's not all the time, but doing it day by day. Like I've started journaling now every day. This is someone who, by the way, could not stick to any. I have really had trouble sticking to a thing So I've just made it so that every day has to look kind of the same. So I only write 2 pages a day, but every day. And I have to like do some kind of movement, body movement, right? Exercise or something every day. Even 7 to 10 minutes counts, but consciously.
Yeah.
So making it conscious, it's not accidental. I want to live an intentional life, and that brings me great joy. And I have little tips and tricks and hacks to like keep me accountable. Accountability is super important to me. It gives me great joy to ask for help, have the right help, and make sure I manage up all the time. All the people that are helping me, I'm like, this is what I need from you and you and you and you,
And they
right?
want to know that. They want to know how to best support you and drive you to that destination. My takeaway from that is every day should feel like a Saturday.
Or a Sunday or a Wednesday, whatever your favorite day is.
Whatever. Like
Yes,
my
pick
favorite
a
day of the
day.
week is a Saturday.
Saturdays are a good day. So yes, every day is Saturday. That's a great takeaway.
All right, I know we only have 1 minute left, so I've got 2 questions. Question number
Fire.
one, do you have an inspirational quote that drives you every single day? And it's okay if you don't. Or the secret to your success?
I love the hard questions. I'll answer the first one. I don't have a, actually this morning I put a note down, so I don't know where it is right now, but I'm going to put this on my phone. It's for my daily affirmation is that um, I am worthy, wealthy, healthy, and free.
Ooh, I'm writing these down. I
Every
love
single
it.
day, I'm going to have this pop up on my phone because I've been in the writing that I've been doing and in the daily kind of music meditations and stuff that I've been slowly doing and the body movement that I've been doing because people like me who are have been stuck in our head a lot, in our thoughts a lot, moving that into the body is super helpful and liberating and it like heals a lot of stuff. And so that's what came up today so subtly. I am worthy, wealthy, healthy, and free. That's it.
Well, you should read the book if you haven't already. Tracy Litt wrote a book called Worthy Human. You are the solution and the problem. So if you haven't had a chance to pick that up, you should. I'm halfway through it and it's incredible. It's very in sync with what you were chatting about. So
Wonderful.
what is the best way for people to connect with you in terms of seeing if you are going to be a great guide and leader for them?
So I think what I'll do, the best thing right now to do, given that I'm in this transition phase, I'll pop my Facebook group below. This is my free one, and they should just join the group, come to my weekly teachings and trainings, and hang out there. See if that community and the feel is good. I'm just building that, and then from there we can go. I
Awesome.
think that's the best. Yeah.
Well,
Thank you so much for having me.
hello.
Look,
Thank you.
this you made this. I'm drinking from this that Jamie made.
Isn't it an incredible mug? I'm so
That
happy
whole
how
box,
it
by
turned
the
out.
way, I mean, it gave me so much freaking joy right now when everything is virtual and I just needed to touch. I need to touch something, and I got this box, and I was like, I need to meet this woman. Everything in there was thoughtful, tasteful, so beautifully done, and just the design and it gave me so much joy. It was like sparkly and like glowing thinking about it.
I'll be
I'm so happy.
hosting Kristen tomorrow. She's gonna do like a live testimony. We're gonna actually talk about how that box came together. So if you're free tomorrow, look for the live. I'll be getting that up and promoted today. So I know you have an appointment you gotta
Awesome.
get to.
I gotta go.
So all
Thank you
right,
so
bye,
much.
Raina. Thanks so much. Have a good
Bye,
day.
Jamie. Have a good
Bye.
one.
You too.
Bye.